Today we are typing Christopher Eric Hitchens. He was a British-American author, journalist, orator, and columnist. He wrote, co-wrote, edited, or co-edited over 30 books, including 5 of essays on culture, politics, and literature. I almost said that like you. Literature.
Literature.
It's rubbing off on me.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
This week on Q&A, journalist and author Christopher Hitchens.
Christopher Hitchens, what's it feel like to be 60?
Very much the same as it did to be 59. These are arbitrary dates in a way. Edmund Wilson wrote an article called The Author at 60. He wouldn't even say myself at 60 or Edmund Wilson at 60. Or read The Author at 60, which I'm going to read later on this week.
You're just days into the 60th year. What's life like?
I suppose I would add one thing, I mean, since you do ask. In a funny way, I never expected to live this long.
Why?
And the even more strange thing about it is, well, I can remember when 30 seemed very old to me. And I was probably only early 20s then. And that thought kept on decade by decade. And also, I didn't used to get the blues, as some people do, as decades turned. With 60, the risk of it is you say, I remember the first time I met Brian Lamb and came on C-SPAN. That was 28 years ago. And you think, I may not have another 28 to come. That hits you a bit more than it did when you were 40, let's say.
What is life like for you?
At present?
Yeah.
Well, I'm writing a memoir, so I'm having to go through all this anyway. And again, great stretches of time.
See the hands again.
And the realization that first, I've seen more days than I'm going to see, seen more sunsets and dawns than I'm going to see. I can live with that. I always knew that was true. No point being in denial there. But if I didn't have children to date things by, I think it would seem very arbitrary. But what makes it real is realizing that I have a son who once was on this show with me, remember?
He's 10 years old.
Who will be a quarter of a century old next month.
He'll be 25 years old. What's he doing?
He's working for a think tank in London called the Centre for Social Cohesion. A bit of a mouthful name, but it essentially says that religious groups shouldn't make special claims, that there should be a national and common citizenship without being denominated by faith.
You have 2 other children.
I do have 2 daughters. In fact, at present, I can say I'm the father of 2 teenage girls. But that'll change in September when Sophia will become 20. And perhaps even more dramatically, Antonia will become 16.
So what has been your, this is not heavy-duty policy, I know, but what has been your kind of mission with those 3 kids? What kind of a father have you been to them?
Pretty indifferent, I suspect. I mean, I always feel that I get better with children the older they get. I think this is probably true of a lot of men. Though why would I seek shelter in the majority? I don't normally try and do that. But a striking thing, let's say, about women is, about both my wives, is that they know what to do when babies occur. They sort of know what to do. No, very few men do. Somehow it seems to be a female thing when they're little, and even when they're growing.
Right.
I think this is probably true to an abnormal extent with me, as it was with my own father. You hardly
Okay,
notice
stop
him
there.
until you're...
Okay.
Huh.
Well, before you get started, you did mention the hand thing, and I guess, just to clarify, we just typed James Cameron, who's a TE user, and you were pointing out how he uses his hands to emphasize his language. So that's kind of what you were alluding to there.
And Christopher Hitchens does the same thing.
All right, this is your territory, Mr. INTJ.
I don't know, like, just certain types, they say things, right, and it just captivates me, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I'm really interested in what they have to say because of their thought process.
Right. I'm interested as well. I just, the first question is, what's it feel like to be 60? Kind of a boring question, right? But right away, he gave
Yeah,
such
I mean, how
scope
can you answer?
and
How can you even
depth.
answer that?
Well, he did.
Like people do that, like on your birthday, don't they? They go, "Well,
Yeah.
what's it like to be 28
Yeah.
now?" And then you say,
Yeah, but
well, I guess it was like it was when I was 27.
right, but I liked his answer. He immediately introspected on, like when he was a younger man, it was different watching the decades go by. But now, I loved his answer. How you realize that you have less time ahead than you do behind, and I don't know. It's just the
See,
way.
that's the intuitive. Like,
Yes,
people don't seem
right.
to be able to recognize what
Yes.
intuitive is.
Mm-hmm.
It's taking like a depth of meaning from something that is kind of, like you said, arbitrary, right?
Yes.
It's like,
yeah.
because the guy doesn't expect he's not expecting like this kind of depth of answer, is he, really? He's like, hey, what's it like to be 60?
Yes.
Oh, I feel old. That's what he's
Right.
expecting,
Right,
something like that.
Yeah.
He's not expecting like, well, when I was 25, it felt like this.
Right.
When I was 35 and a half, I felt a bit
Yes.
more like this. Like, he wasn't
Yeah.
people don't expect that. And this is what intuitives do. They just think deeper. And they kind of think in this like spider web of possibility, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, I kind of think what he says about being indifferent as a father, kind of interesting.
And I love how he said he doesn't normally. Oh, I forgot how he said it. It was so beautiful the way he worded it. Oh, seek shelter. I don't usually seek shelter in the majority. So why am I doing that immediately? Did you hear him say that?
In reference to what?
When he was lumping himself in with other men, and he said, I don't usually seek shelter with the minority. I'm not sure, or the majority. I'm not sure why I'm doing that. Yeah. You must have missed that. That was interesting. So he kind of...
I don't know. I relate a lot. I understand what he's saying with this indifference. It's, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I would think of myself as being like that, indifferent. But I understand what he means. I think he's just more like hands off. Yeah.
It could be.
It's just,
It could be very indicative, though, of just a higher, like a thinking type man. Where you're not as interested in your children until they start giving you something to work with, right?
right. Like for me, like, I don't really like babies because, like, okay. Let me explain.
Okay, I know it. I know what's going to happen here. You're going to listen to him, and then you're going to want to give your perspective.
Yes, yeah.
And we're going to. Yeah, this is a problem.
Well,
he said this. Now let me tell you what I think about it, because he's going to inspire your thoughts like this. So.
yeah, of course he is. Like, I don't
Yes.
like babies. Like,
You're going to do it anyway.
they just lie there. They sleep. They don't entertain you in any way.
Oh, they do. They're endlessly entertaining.
No, they're not. They just sleep.
Yes.
And just
No.
like, I feel, like I have like a big family.
Yes.
I've seen many babies.
And you've been indifferent to them.
And, like, at first I think, oh, well, that's nice. That's a baby. Good thing. That's another one. Add them to the stack of siblings you got. But then it's like, after like a week, you're like, alright, well,
We'll wait for this one to get a few more years on it.
I gotta wait 6 months now just to interact with it. That's it's just,
All right, can
it's
we
boring.
move on and go back to Christopher Hitchens? We're not analyzing you today.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
A bit older. And so what I hope to do, which to redeem how little I was involved in the infancy bit, is to be a pal and a prop and a stay and a force as they become older. It's, I think, worked so far.
I like it.
Back to the memoir for a
Yeah.
moment. Where are you in that? When's it due, and how much time have you spent on it, and what's your approach to it?
I spend all my time thinking about it and quite all my time writing about it. After all, it's about me, so I can always spare the time. And with luck, it'll be turned into my
I
publisher.
think I'm ahead
in
of you in the
fall.
video.
And that'll mean it'll be published sometime in the spring or early summer of next year.
So, but give us the approach you're making. I mean, hey, tell us one thing that's going to be in there that we don't know.
Oh, I couldn't tell you just one. I mean, the theme is that of a divided self. I haven't got a title for it yet, but if it was a pop song title, it would be called Both Sides Now, I suppose, something like that. I've often felt myself exactly split down the middle and able to see, which is an advantage, both sides of every question.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Able
all
to
right,
take
let's
one
stop
side
there.
and take
I
it
mean, if
somewhere.
that's not classic INTJ right there. I mean, I see this in you all the time. I've always said this about you. You're so fair in my mind because you are able, you're not like quick to jump to a judgment.
Yeah.
And you can, even when it comes to yourself, like you can weigh things and see both sides of a thing.
Yes, we don't. The thing with INTJ is we don't get emotionally involved. We have this weird sort of ability to detach any emotion from everything and look at it just strictly objectively. You know, it's really useful because you really can see both sides. You can see the nuances and everything. Like you said, even in ourselves.
Yeah.
And we can sit there and think, is how I reacted, was that fair? You know, I can think for like a long time about like just things I've done, and I can argue either side about, you know, whether my reaction was good or whether my reaction
And
was
you
bad.
enjoy doing that.
Yes. Yeah, I do, because
And so does
I like
he.
to make progress.
Uh-huh.
Like the INTJ is the true progressive, really, within itself.
Yeah.
It has to be moving. If it's not, then it's not happy. Stagnation is like the worst.
Anathema. All right, want to watch some more?
Yeah, let's go. 3, 2, 1, go.
But sometimes feel the temptation to see it from the other as well. And this has been the case with other aspects of my life. Finding out late in life that my mother was Jewish, for example, I had a second identity. Spending quite a lot of time with a wife who was Greek and trying to become, in part, a member of another society, language and culture, and I'm looking for another second identity there. Taking pleasure in, if you like, having it both ways, which maybe would be a good title for the book.
Your first wife, you were married to her for how long?
Don't let me hesitate unduly, because I was with her for longer than we were married, if you know what I mean. I remember we got married the year I moved to the United States, which was B81, but we'd been a team for longer than that, for a couple of years like that. And we were separated in 89 and probably divorced a year after.
And where she lived today?
In London.
Your second wife, Carol Blue.
It was Blue.
You met her where?
In Los Angeles, a native city.
And what were the circumstances?
I was on a book tour. When people say to me, just while I think about this, the thought we were just having, people say, "Isn't it a bit early?" Because I'm up to 60, and as you haven't
He's
said
not
yet,
even
I don't
responding
look-
to this joke.
I knew you were going to say that. You suddenly think, yes, maybe it is early, but you can't wait till it's too late. So if you're ever going to do it, you have to do it now.
The individual
I
self.
want to.
I know, he's so
I'm going to go
deadpan.
back to
And
He's such a
our
sensor type.
first interview.
Yes,
in book
maybe
notes
that's what I'm
together
trying to.
in
Yeah.
'83. And
You have this?
Yeah.
Oh, look at him
I want
here.
you to see what you look like. Let's run this.
In case I'm accused of concealing it, let me say it now. If I haven't said it already, I've already said I was a member of the Labour Party in Britain. The Labour Party is a member of the Socialist International. That's the family of socialist parties that comprises François Mitterrand, the Sandinista movement in Nicaragua, the British Labour Party, the Swedish Socialist Party, and many others. I still consider myself a member of that political family, and I don't feel that coming out with it on the air is, as it were, a confession. It's just an affirmation. If I'd known you were so interested in my private political views, I'd have put them nearer the top of the show.
Said that was book notes. It wasn't. It was a call-in
Agreed.
show.
Yeah.
And that was one of the first times we talked about.
Sorry,
your
I'm just
socialism.
combing away my fringe, having looked at that.
I think he's already
deplorable
criticizing
young man.
himself
What,
for what he
what did I
said.
mean by saying private political views? Surely I should have been
That's
saying...
interesting. All right,
it's
stop
not
it
private.
there. Isn't that interesting? He's looking at his younger self, and he's very frankly what you just said. He's already saying, "Why did I say that?" You know, he's not taking it personally. He's
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. So if that was me, I would have looked at what I said. I would probably be like, oh, cringe, cringe, cringe. And then I would have been like, but I understand where I was coming from.
yeah.
Because at the time, this XYZ, this happened. You know, I hadn't spent X amount of time in that sort of
Yeah.
branch of study. You know, like personal study, not university or anything, but you know, this is what we do. We look into things.
Also, I think it was clever how he was asking about his wives, and he deflected it. Did you notice that he said he met her in Los Angeles, and then right away he went back to talking about his memoirs? I was like, I don't want to talk about that. Like, it was interesting how he just turned it all around, you know?
INTJ deflection, huh?
Yes.
How dare you?
I don't know. I wonder if he was a younger man, if he would have been, how he would have handled that question. Just, I don't know.
Probably the same, I would think.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can definitely see the TE in him, but he's, you know, again, he's not extroverted.
No, not an extrovert. Introvert. TE. Very thoughtful.
FI.
Yeah,
I think
FI
that-
sees both of the sides of the story.
Yes.
Can detach emotionally.
Yep.
Yeah, what
Yeah.
can you say? INTJ.
Yeah, I know you'd want to keep watching, so but I think we have enough evidence.
I know. It's difficult because, you know, I could talk about this guy for
I
hours.
know. Right.
I can't really get started in many ways.
Yes, because you'll be here for an hour.
Yes, I'll
Yes.
tell him what I think of what he thinks, and then I'll tell you what I think about what I think, and then I'll tell you why I disagree, or why I agree, and why I like what he says, and why
Yes.
I can see where he's coming from.
And then that would be my cue to make a cup of tea and just tune in and out.
How dare you? Yes, anyway, he's an INTJ. I think we have two others, don't we? In the works. Don't spoil them.
Right, I won't spoil it. Yes, we have a few others in the works, so.
Yeah, but other than them, I mean, we've tried very hard to find some of the rarer types like INTJ and INTP, and it's very difficult to find a real one that isn't
Well, I
some
think
kind of cliche
yeah.
MBTI.
Yeah.
Typing.
Well, I think the problem is you're not going to find them in Hollywood as much.
We've got the one, so that's good.
Yes. Okay, all right. That's it for Christopher Hitchens.
Yeah, and if you have any INTJs that are not actually INTJs, maybe suggest them, and we can tell you that you're wrong.
Oh my goodness. All right, let's end this video.
Okay. Before I get myself into
Bye.
trouble.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.